I would now like to invite Dr. NEENA to talk about the next generation spectacle lenses for myopia control.
So thank you, KSOS, for this opportunity, and I warmly welcome all the co-instructors for this course. I'm going to talk about the next generation spectacle lenses for myopia control. So this is something new to us. We've been giving single vision glasses for myopia, and now we are told there are special myopia controlled glasses. What are these glasses? So one of them is the peripheral defocus spectacle lenses. Now if you look at this first picture, that is that of an uncorrected myope. You can see that the light rays are focusing in the center, not in the center, in front of the retina. So what happens when you give a traditional single vision lens? The light rays get focused into the center of the retina, but look at the periphery. The periphery is getting focused behind the retina, creating a hyperopic defocus. Now, scientists, especially Earl Smith et al., have found out through investigations that this hyperopic defocus acts as a stimulus for the eyeball to further elongate, further increasing the myopia. So what do we do now? So they came up with a prototype of lens which creates a simultaneous clear vision in the center but produces a myopic defocus in the periphery, and they found that this was the best lens for myopia control. So based on that, the peripheral defocus spectacles have come into vogue, and this acts like a stop signal for the eyeball to further stop progression. So we have three prototypes in India: DIMS, or the defocus incorporated multiple segments, and you can see this is the Hoya Myosmart is a prototype. There is a central clear aperture surrounded by an array of multiple segments, each 1 millimeter in diameter and with a plus 3.5 diopters myopic defocus. So around 400 such segments are there surrounding the central clear zone, and this is in the middle periphery. So studies, especially this study which was done in Hong Kong Chinese children, found that it had 50% refractive and 60% axial length efficacy when they were worn, with an absolute effect of 0.44 diopter lower refraction and 0.34 mm less axial elongation. Now coming to the second prototype, which is a HALT, which is highly aspherical lensless target technology. Again, based on the principle of myopic defocus, you have a central clear zone for distant vision surrounded by 11 concentric rings of a constellation of 1021 highly aspherical lenslets. They are invisible, and each ring has lenslets of different power. There is a space in between each ring, and within the ring the lenslets are contiguous. Again, the concept is to produce a volume of myopic defocus in the periphery. And this 1-year myopia control study, again from Hong Kong, found that these lenses had a 70% refractive and 60% axial length control efficacy, with an absolute effect of 0.4 by 54 diopters and a 0.23 mm less reduction of axial length in wearers in 1 year. The third prototype is the CARE, or the cylindrical annular refractive element. This currently marketed by Zeiss. You have two types, CARE and CARE-S. CARE has 7 mm central aperture. CARE-S has 9 mm central aperture. Again, the central clear zone is central has the power for distant correction, surrounded by cylindrical annular refractive elements, again producing myopic defocus in the periphery. And this 2-year prospective multi-center trial showed that this was definitely superior as compared to single vision lenses. Now we have another type of lens. This is not based on my peripheral defocus, but based on the principle that if you reduce the abnormal high retinal contrast signals, you can reduce myopia progression. So what they have done is they have incorporated multiple micro dots on the lens, thousands of micro dots on the lens, which slightly scatter light rays and produce mild reduction in the retinal contrast. And they found that reduction in retinal contrast acts as a stop signal for eyeball elongation and controls myopia. And this 4-year multi-center RCT also showed that this was effective as compared to single vision lenses. So there are so many lenses in the market. So I would like to share our experience with peripheral defocus glasses. So the study was done in our center in children with documented myopia progression, and we grouped into two categories, HALT wearers and CARE wearers. And what did we find? we found that the primary parameter we assessed was spherical equivalent increase and axial length elongation. And we had 34 patients, 68 eyes. The age, the sex, the axial length, mean spherical equivalent, all were comparable in the two groups. And we had more of rapid progressors in a study. That means they were progressing at a rate of 0.75 diopters jump every year in myopia. And this is the age distribution. We had more of children in 9 to 12 years age in our study. Coming to the results, if you look at the spherical equivalent progression at the end of 6 months, we found that 45.5% of the care wearers and 43.5% of the halt wearers did not show any significant spherical equivalent progression. That means it was less than or equal to 0.125 diopters in 6 months. Whereas the axial elongation was less impressive. Only 31.8% of the care wearers and 39.1% of the halt wearers did not show any axial length increase. However, at the end of 1 year, this was very significant. 93.8% of the halt wearers and 75% of the care wearers did not show any significant increase in spherical equivalent progression. But however, the axial length control was less impressive. So we found that both halt lenses and care lenses were best effective in moderate progressors, those who were progressing between 0.5 to 0.75 diopters per year. So what did we find? We found that halt and care were comparable in their efficacy at the end of 6 months, but at 1 year, halt had significantly better effect on reducing spherical equivalent progression and a slightly better effect on reducing axial elongation compared to care. Both the lenses, halt and care, were most effective in moderate progressors, and both spectacles were tolerated well, no adverse effects. They were cosmetically acceptable and reasonably affordable, price range from 8,000 to 16,000 Indian rupees. So why is the study relevant? It's one of the first studies which compares halt and care lenses in myopia control, and one of the first studies comparing halt and care in South India. So when you looked at the other studies, I found only one published study from RP Center by Saxena et al., who found that they also had DIMS in their study, and they found that DIMS and halt were slightly better than care at the end of 1 year in myopia control. Thus, to conclude, I'd like to say that these lenses are very much usable. They do work, and please do prescribe them if the parents are keen and affordable, and as they are non-invasive, they are easily accepted. And we found that at the end of a 1 year study in myopic children.